So for the $1/2 video, we decided to return to attic treasures in Watkinsville, Georgia, because in some of the comments, people were requesting us to show more of his store. So here you go, enjoy.
I got them out.
So here are the $1/2 that we picked up today. In 1897 Barber, a 1918 and 1944 Walking Liberty, and a 1964 Kennedy. And on our way home, we stopped at Athens Antique and Vintage and picked up 2 Benjamin Franklin $1/2. Here's some footage of their store. Now onto the $1/2. So the first series of $1/2 were the flowing hair $1/2, minted in 1794 and 1795. These are extremely rare. There were only 23,400 minted of the 1794 and about 300,000 minted of the 1795. If you're looking to buy a flowing hair $1/2, you're probably looking to spend close to $1,000 on a beat up or damaged or shit condition one. If you want a really nice one, you're going to have to spend upwards to $2,000 to $5,000. The second series of $1/2 were the Drake Bust $1/2. On the 1796 version, there were actually one with 15 stars, the New Orleans, and the 16 stars. There was a few different variations, but mainly the 1796 and the 1797 had a fraction half on the back, on the bottom of it. You can see 1/2, and by 1801, that was removed totally. These were minted from 1796 to 1807. If you're looking to buy a draped bust $1/2, you're looking to spend about $1,000 plus for a good one, or around $600 for a fair one. The third series of the $1/2 were the cap bust. These were minted from 1807 to 1836. There are some variations of this coin, but they really started to perfect the mint by then. But these were produced for 30 years, almost. And if you saw earlier in the video, the shop we went to, the second shop, had one for $125. And that's a pretty fair price, because they go on the low side for about $50, on the high side about $200. The fourth series of the $1/2 were the Seated Liberties. These were minted between 1839 and 1891. These were the $1/2 during the Civil War, during the Industrial Revolution, and also in the 1870s when the U.S. population surpassed the UK's. There are some variations and errors with these, but by this time, the mint started to perfect the process. These are the first $1/2 to be 90% instead of 89 too. If you're looking to buy one of these, you can get one cheap for about $30 to $40, or a nice one for around $300 to $500. The fifth in the series were the Barber $1/2. Now you can find these pretty easy. You can find these for about $15 to $20, but most of the time they're really rubbed down. Believe it or not, this is a pretty fair condition one. The Barber half dollars were minted between 1892 and 1915. There are some good key date Barber half dollars. I have some listed here, but mainly you want to look for some that's not rubbed down, because even key dates rubbed down aren't worth a whole lot. The sixth series are the Walking Liberties. These are also pretty common. You can find these for about $15 to $20. But just like the Barber halves, these are always rubbed down, rubbed pretty raw. The Walking Liberty half dollars were produced between 1916 and 1947. There are a couple of key dates, but quality is key. The seventh in the series were the Benjamin Franklin half dollars, and these are actually my favorite. A lot of people don't like them, so these are a good one to stack, because you can find them on eBay for cheap, around $12. You can see it's the ones I have the most of. The Franklin half dollars were minted between 1948 and 1963, and these are really common and a good way to stack constitutional silver. There's not many key dates, but there is a 1954 D Bugs Bunny strike that to me just feels more scammy than really a variety. The eighth and the current series of half dollars are the Kennedy half dollars. The 1964 Kennedy half dollar was 90% silver. The 1965, the 1969 half dollars were 40% silver. These are good for flipping, because you can sometimes find these for $3 to $5 and possibly flip them for up to $7 or $8. The 1970 half dollar was also 40% silver, but they were only issued in mint sets, so they're a little harder to find. All of the Kennedy half dollars after 1970 were all copper nickel, so they're literally only worth 50 cents. Of the non-silver half dollars, there's really no key dates, but there is the bicentennial quarter that's pretty cool. And also, there's some special mint sets from 2005 to 2010 that's worth a few bucks. Also, the 2002 to present half dollars are not intended for circulation, so those are worth a couple bucks as well. And then there are commemoratives. Oh boy, there's so many. I'm just going to scroll through the list and show some of the ones that I have had, or still have. I've had 3 or 4 of the 1892 and 1893 Colombian half dollars. Those are pretty cool. You can get them for about 20 bucks. One of my favorite commemorative half dollars are the 1925 Stone Mountain half dollar. One reason because I live in Georgia. Another reason is because it's just beautiful. You can get these for about $50 to $60. I've owned the Booker T. Washington half dollars and the George Washington Carver half dollars. Those are both pretty cool. You can get them for about $15 to $20 each. There's also the 1982 George Washington half dollar. These are really only worth about their weight in silver, so I wouldn't pay more than $12 for it, but if you can get them for 10 bucks, it's a pretty good deal. And to compare which half dollars you should stack and which ones you should keep as a collector's item, you can weigh them. Now, of course, the older they are, the more they've been wore down. The ones that usually get slick the most are the Barber halves and the Walking Liberty halves. So I'm going to do a little test and see how much each one weighs. So here's a Barber half that's pretty slick. NGC says these weigh about 12.5 grams. So let's see. That's 11.4. So that's lost about a whole gram of silver over time. The Walking Liberty, 11.7. That's lost about 3/4 of a gram of silver cents. Now the Franklin half. The Franklin half is spot on, so it hasn't lost much silver at all. And the Kennedy, you can tell this is uncirculated, so this should be right around the same as the Benjamin, or maybe even a little more. Let's see. It actually weighs less than the Benjamin, but you know, whatever, it's around the same. So now you know you should stack these two for their silver content and these two for collectors. So I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. So here's an 8.5-minute walkthrough of attic treasures in Watkinsville, Georgia. Enjoy.
Only one I'm interested in is the 64 here, at $10 for it. The rest of them I can't use, I'm sorry. You don't have to put it back.
Where would be a good place to sell these at, on eBay or something, you think? You can sell them on eBay, there's a lot of competition, and none of them are very high dollar coins, so you won't be making a lot. like better though, I always like it. Can I help you? Well, how much was that?
Which one you
Sure
talking
it's the second one.
about? Oh, you're talking about, you're not talking about this one. You're talking about, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's, no sign of what it is. You can have it for 425. 425. James, so the guy from Janesville said he was coming in to buy all the signs today. 425, it's both that one, that's really great color. It's like a 425.
I come in here 2 months ago, got the AC, it's a layer something.
Four twenty-five, that's a bargain too.
Hey,
Bonus stacking tip. I paid $2.50 for 4 silver half dollars. How did I do it? I bought this VHS DVD combo for $2.50 at a estate sale, and I sold it for $60. And then I took that $60 cash and bought 4 silver half dollars. Use that tip. It's very helpful.